Hi, I'm Ronnie Panu, Director and Founder of Panu Tax Disputes and Investigations. At Panu Tax, we help our clients to manage and resolve all types of HMRC inquiries, investigations and disputes. So if you receive Code of Practice 9 or the Contractual Disclosure Facility from HMRC, you are in essence being given notice by the taxman that he thinks you may have committed tax evasion or tax fraud. This is the most serious civil investigation HMRC can give, and so it can have serious consequences for you and your business. And so care needs to be taken on the decisions that you make and how you proceed. So as part of the Code of Practice 9 procedure, HMRC initially give you some options, and so there are some decisions that you need to make. If there are tax issues that you're aware of that need to be disclosed to HMRC, then my advice would be to elect to make a full disclosure and to cooperate with HMRC. If you're positive that there aren't any tax issues that you need to tell the taxman about, then you can advise HMRC of this fact, but still elect to cooperate with any subsequent HMRC investigation or any questions that may arise. But before you decide to take this option, take some time to make sure that you fully understand the potential consequences of going down this path. And note that HMRC will have done their homework. They will have information which they believe justifies the decision to issue you with Code of Practice 9 in the first place. If you decide to make a disclosure, then in return, as part of this process, HMRC provides you with an absolute guarantee of immunity from criminal investigation in relation to those issues that you've told them about. And if you decide not to make a disclosure to HMRC, then the likelihood is that you'll face a investigation. Now that may be on a civil or, in extreme cases, on a criminal basis. So what should you do if you get Code of Practice 9 from HMRC? Well, the first thing to do, in my experience, is not to panic. Now it is a serious matter, so it does require your serious consideration. But if you've got an advisor on your side that's experienced in dealing with these matters, then it can be a relatively smooth process. One that involves you settling with HMRC on a civil basis, so paying the tax, any interest on late pay tax and a penalty, but at the same time you and your business gets a clean bill of health up to the point of that settlement. So assuming you've got a disclosure to make to HMRC, the next stage is to provide an outline disclosure that needs to be submitted to HMRC within 60 days of receipt of the Code of Practice 9. Now 60 days may seem like a long time, but in my experience it can soon pass. You need to have your advisors on board and they need to make sure that they properly understand the issues. So providing a credible disclosure to HMRC is critical, and your advisors need to be able to anticipate the questions that the taxman is likely to ask and include them on your outline disclosure so that it matches with the information that HMRC have on file when the inspector checks the document that you send in. So the outline disclosure is essentially you telling HMRC at a high level the nature of the issues and roughly the amounts of tax at stake. So when you're comfortable with the outline disclosure, it's then time to send it into HMRC. On receipt, the tax inspector will check it with the information they have on file, and also in particular the information that led to the decision to issue you Code of Practice 9 in the first place. If the inspector is comfortable that your outline disclosure matches the information that HMRC holds, then he or she will write to you confirming this. Now this is a good place to be because now you have immunity, a guarantee of immunity from criminal investigation from HMRC in relation to those issues that you include in your outline disclosure. But if the inspector considers that your outline disclosure is incomplete or incorrect, then you potentially find yourself in a difficult situation. One where HMRC could start their own civil or even criminal investigation. So getting that outline disclosure right is absolutely crucial. So assuming that the inspector has accepted your outline disclosure, the next stage in this process is for your advisors to meet with the inspector to agree the nature and scope of your disclosure report. A disclosure report is a document produced by your advisors which sets out the detail behind the disclosure that you made. So it shows the when, the where, the why and the how behind the tax irregularities. Now whilst this is produced by your advisors, it is your document, and so you would need to certify and adopt it as such before it's sent to HMRC. So the report needs to set out in detail the issues, but it also needs to predict and respond proactively to the likely questions the inspector is going to ask. But then at the same time, it needs to mitigate any of these issues wherever possible. So once the disclosure report is complete and you've certified that it contains your complete and accurate disclosure, it's then sent off to HMRC. Now at this point the tax inspector will test it, review it, to make sure that it is accurate and they're satisfied that it contains your complete disclosure. If you send in a credible and accurate report to HMRC, then this part of the process shouldn't take too long and you shouldn't get too many questions from the tax inspector. Once the inspector has accepted the report, the next stage is to negotiate the final settlement. So any settlement will include the tax, interest on late paid tax, and also a financial penalty. Now, negotiating effectively with HMRC around the tax and the penalty can be crucial in ensuring that you get the best result. The penalty in particular can be a large part of the amount that you finally pay over to HMRC. But this is where you should get credit for cooperating with HMRC, for sending in a credible outline disclosure and an accurate final disclosure report. All of these things should help to ensure that the penalty that you finally pay is reduced to the lowest amount possible. So having someone on side that's experienced in these matters, that can negotiate effectively with HMRC, is going to be crucial in ensuring that you get the best possible outcome.